Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our latest edition of Opinions That Matter. This month, while I did not really get a chance to meet someone in person and have an interview, I got the privilege of talking to someone who's been a stalwart when it comes to the gastrotherapy. He's been someone who's been instrumental in getting the company recognized in this therapy segment and has been a person who believes in leading from the front. I feel privileged to share with you a recording that I had while talking to Mr. Deepak Arora from Wallace Life Sciences. Mr. Arora is the Vice President Sales and Marketing and has been one of the top leadership people in the organization who's ensured that Wallace has gained prominence when it comes to the gastrotherapy. So, welcome to Opinions That Matter. Sir, tell us the outlook of Wallace as an emerging player when it comes to the gastrotherapy. How do you see Wallace performance in the gastrotherapy segment?
Gastrotherapy has emerged as the fourth largest therapy in IPM with a value of over 19,000 crores. This gastrotherapy has always been a thrust area for Wallace. Compared to the Wallace rank in IPM in the top 50, as far as gastrotherapy is concerned, we have achieved the 20th rank. Even the market share of Wallace in gastrotherapy is 3 times its market share in the IPM. Wallace has always been focused on pediatric gastroenterology with treatment options in diarrhea management, antacids, constipation and probiotics. However, to increase our presence in the gastro market, we have recently launched Gastro division, which is totally focused on the gastrotherapy. The objective is to be perceived as a serious player in this therapy through the launch of newer molecules that address the changing lifestyles of the population, specifically IBS and non-ulcer dyspepsia.
Also, sir, I'd like to understand from you what has been the post-COVID scenario and the performance of gastrotherapy.
So now, if you look at the breakup or the composition of the GI tract, it has a very high expression of the angiotensin converting enzyme 2 receptors, which is the ACE2 receptors, which makes it prone to the direct damage from the cellular invasion of coronavirus. And as a result, we saw that every patient affected with COVID had a lot of GI symptoms, including diarrhea, vomiting, anorexia, etc., which is a direct fallout of the coronavirus infection, but also the side effect of a lot of drugs that were administered to manage the infection. In addition, we had this lockdown and work from home phase. Now, this phase resulted in sedentary lifestyles, lack of exercise, poor eating habits, including a lot of binge eating as well as increased alcohol consumption. Another major change which happened during this time was that the income levels had been affected to a large extent as a direct result of pay cuts or loss of jobs, giving rise to increased anxiety and stress. And if we see the changing trends of the GI ailments earlier that were more prominent in the geriatric population are now also being seen in the younger age group. A combination of all these, that is the infection, the changing lifestyles, etc., have given rise to a lot of psychological issues, with the largest presenting symptom being the GI symptoms like chronic non-specific abdominal pain. There's been a lot of dyspepsia and chronic constipation. And if you look at the endoscopic evaluation, it really does not reveal any underlying cause.
So, tell us something about the emerging molecules in the gastrotherapy. I mean, which are the molecules which you believe are the ones to be looking out for and would probably be doing really well?
So now if you look at the data itself, the top molecules as well as the growth drivers in this market continue to be dominated by conventional molecules, whether it is the PPIs and their combinations, or it is the probiotics, drugs for constipation management, as well as hepatoprotectives. So, going forward also, the management of these GI disorders, essentially what we've been talking of, the IBS and non-ulcer dyspepsia, will continue to be dominated by conventional molecules. At the same time, there's an increasing incidence of liver and pancreatic disorders due to changing lifestyles as well as increased alcohol consumption. This has led to a great surge in the prescriptions for hepatoprotectives and digestive enzymes. Anxiolytics have also found increased use because a lot of these GI disorders, we know that they are only the presenting symptoms of underlying psychological issues. If you look at the various molecules, there are a lot of promising molecules which are in development or already been launched in the treatment of these GI disorders. Essentially, a lot of the current research is targeted as management of chronic idiopathic constipation and IBS. The newer synthetic drugs like prucalopride, which have already been launched. Then there are drugs which have different mode of actions but targeted at the same indication. You have velucetrac, which is a 5-HT4 agonist. You have relamorelin, ghrelin agonist. There's traspirobin, which is a dopamine receptor antagonist, which offers much better safety compared to metoclopramide or domperidone as far as its safety in extrapyramidal symptoms is concerned. All these are currently effective in the treatment of GI disorders. Even as we look at our traditional system of medicine, it is believed that most of these diseases originate either in the mind or in the gut. We see a lot of awareness that has been increasing on gut health, and that is the reason there is a growing attention given to alternative ways to prevent or treat diseases. Nutraceuticals are used increasingly for this purpose. There are many of them which are being used for alternate therapy, and the most commonly marketed nutraceuticals, of course, we know are probiotics, but then we also have the dietary fiber and the prebiotics. We have inulin, galactomannan, there's resistant wheat starch, and there are the oligosaccharides, maltodextrin and polydextrose. There are dairy products which contain both pro and prebiotics, which are currently being used for the maintenance of gut health. We've seen that probiotics are known to play a big role in the development and maintenance of gut immunity. At the same time, if you look at the entire practice of gastroenterology, it also involves the use of a lot of surgical procedures in addition to the drug therapy. Now, in the surgical space, there's a lot of disruption happening in terms of the improved procedures, the newer techniques and instruments, and minimal access surgeries. There are various institutions like Pristine and websites like Practosurgery which are promoting surgeons as well as surgical procedures. They aim to provide short-term procedures at lower costs. So now this will directly contribute to increased access and information to the patient. And the increased surgical procedures will definitely influence increased use of drug therapies.
How does Wallace plan to capitalize on the growing opportunities of the basket of the gastrointestinal therapy, sir?
Wallace has established strong equity in the gastrotherapy through its multi-speciality approach in its flagship division. Now, through the launch of the Gastro division, we are focused on the gastrotherapy through a specialty-focused approach on practicing gastroenterologists and the gastrosurgeons. We have been consistently increasing our product portfolio through our offerings for varied GI disorders. So in addition to the newer molecules, we have our formulations R&D, which is working towards improved product offerings that have better bioavailability, better drug stability, or better patient compliance. On the marketing front, we are committed to customer acquisition through a lot of scientific and academic activities that are aimed at doctor education as well as uplifting their practice. We are also investing a lot on training our field staff by uplifting their scientific and communication skills. So this has also helped us in improving our corporate image, better customer conversion, higher employee morale, and higher employee retention.
So thank you so much. This was quite interesting and very enlightening when it comes to the gastrotherapy.
Thank you so much.
I would also take this opportunity to thank our industry partners for joining us today morning. Let me also remind you that the national and regional level MAT April 2022 data is already released on the MSTR platform by Pharma Track Audit. This is for the first time that has happened in the industry, and we assure you with the shift to the MSTR platform, the servicing is only going to increase, and make sure your manual work gets decreased every month. Also a small reminder that the AWACS awards have been announced. The nominees will be out by June 2022. Stay tuned and do let us know if you need any insights from our end when it comes to the IPM performance.